In the days of yore, when nights were bold and the sun never set in the British Empire,
A man's home was his castle. And why not? He worked hard for it, tilling the soil and protecting his family from pillagers. He had a right to that land and call it his own. But times have changed. In our more modern society, we no longer cling to the land like our ancestors did. We are a mobile people, always on the move. Our jobs take us all over the country or even the world. And when we finally settle down, it's not in a quaint cottage with a white picket fence, but in a spacious condominium or a luxurious penthouse. So what happens to our old homes? They sit empty, decaying with each passing day. And while they may still belong to us legally, they no longer serve any practical purpose. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our notions of property ownership. Maybe it is time to think of homes not as static objects that we can cling to forever, but as fluid entities that can adapt and change as our needs dictate. After all, isn't that what property is supposed to be about? The ability to use and enjoy something without having to worry about someone taking it away from you. To become a true real estate professional, I've had to do a lot of research about the history of real estate, not only to gain a better understanding of the industry, but also of the markets and the different economic cycles that make the world go around. I've always been fascinated by history, especially history about real estate. How did it all start? It is so interesting, and it goes all the way back to the Roman Empire. That's way too much history for this video. Maybe we'll do that another time. So instead, I'll just tell you a little bit about the largest real estate deal in American history, the Louisiana Purchase. The Louisiana Purchase was one of the largest and most important real estate deals in history. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase Treaty was signed, which paved the way for Western expansion and made the United States the owners of the Louisiana Territory. The land was bought from France for $15 million, making each acre roughly 4 cents. When you think about it, that's insane. That's roughly about $340 million today. This is a time in history when a lot of things were taking place and new industries were starting to flourish, especially real estate. Did you know the oldest real estate brokerage firm was established in 1855 in Chicago, Illinois? It was initially known as L.D. Olmsted and Company, but is now known as Baird and Warner. In 1908, the National Association of Realtors was founded in Chicago. The name was later changed to the National Association of Real Estate Boards in 1916, and that's also when the term realtor was coined to identify real estate professionals. Real estate has come a long way since 1803, and it's been an important part of our country's history. The Louisiana Purchase was an incredible achievement, and it wouldn't have been possible without real estate professionals like Baird and Warner and the National Association of Real Estate Boards. Forward many years later, the stock market crash of 1929 and the Great Depression in the U.S. caused a major drop in real estate worth and prices, and ultimately resulted in a massive depreciation of 50% for the 4 years after 1929. This had a ripple effect throughout the economy as businesses closed their doors, people lost their jobs, and families struggled to make ends meet. The housing market was no exception, as demand for homes decreased and financing became much more difficult to obtain. I feel like we're currently experiencing something very similar. The pandemic and low interest rates had the opposite effect of what we expected. Except now, with the Fed playing around with interest rates, we're starting to see a different market. As the old cliche says it best, history repeats itself. If you're a real estate agent who wants to stay ahead of the markets or your competition, I've created a free training that can help you generate consistent leads and listing appointments with very little effort on your part. It is completely free, so go ahead and click on the link in the video description below and check it out. In 1933, the Banking Act was passed in an attempt to stabilize the banking system. This act made it illegal for banks to refuse deposits or to close accounts without notice. It also allowed for the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, also known as the FDIC, to insure deposits up to $5,000 per account. The FDIC is still in operation today and is currently the largest insurer of deposits in the world. In 1934, the National Housing Act was passed in an attempt to revive the housing market. This This act created the Federal Housing Administration, also known as FHA, which offered mortgage insurance to home buyers. This program made it easier for people to obtain mortgages, as the FHA would guarantee repayment of the loan if the borrower defaulted. The FHA is still in operation today and is currently the second largest insurer of mortgages in the world. In 1938, an amendment was made to the National Housing Act that established Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae is a government-sponsored enterprise, GSC, that acts as a secondary market for mortgages. This means that it buys mortgages from lenders and then sells them to investors. By doing this, Fannie Mae increases the availability of money for new homes to be funded. Fannie Mae is currently the largest GSC in the world. Real estate has certainly gone through a lot to become what it is today. It was the late 1960s, and America was a nation in turmoil. The civil rights movement was in full swing, fighting for the rights of all people, regardless of race, color, or creed. And while much progress had been made, there was still much work to be done. One area in which discrimination was rampant was in the housing market. African Americans were routinely denied the opportunity to buy or rent homes in white neighborhoods, or were given substandard housing in black neighborhoods. This all changed in 1968 with the passage of the Fair Housing Act. This groundbreaking legislation outlawed discrimination in the renting, buying, and financing of homes on the basis of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, or disability. It was a major victory for the civil rights movement and gave African Americans the opportunity to live where they wanted and to participate fully in American society. The Fair Housing Act has been amended over the years to include protections for the LGBTQ community and people with disabilities. And while there's still some discrimination in the housing market, it is nowhere near as prevalent as it once was. So don't forget, if you're a real estate agent, broker, who wants to stay ahead of the markets or your competition, I've created a free training that can help you generate consistent leads and listing appointments with very little effort on your part. It is completely free, so go ahead and click on the link in the video description right below, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Hey, if you found this video helpful, you want to learn more about real estate and what it takes to become a real estate baller, go ahead and watch the next video, and I will see you in the next one. You take care.